Hello. Hey guys, what's up, Bravehorn? How's it going? Hey Hope, nice of you to join. Hey Joshua, how's it going? Losh, Nikki, nice of you to join. Big D, what's up? Hey Claire, how's it going? Glad you're here. Lululululu. I'm still making my tea. Oh, I do have tea. I have tea right here. Yeah, it's freshly hot. No, I should pour it so that it cools down when I drink it. How you guys doing? What's up, Elizabeth? Good evening, your potential sisters. Am I your potential sister? What's up, Afchi hero? Ready for your bedtime stories? Good. All right, do we get started with some Wordle? Should we do that? Tea ceremony. Have you guys been to a tea ceremony? I have. They serve some matcha tea there. Yeah, it's a bricked tea, if you know what that is. It's in a brick. So they shave it off. They shave off the tea and then they put boiling water over it. Yeah. Yeah, so the tea is like super green and it tasted really bad. I was very excited, but it tasted very bad. It tasted kind of like wheatgrass. If you guys have ever had wheatgrass, yeah, it tasted like that. Very bitter. My dad used to, when we were young, my dad used to have us drink wheatgrass. He would grow the wheatgrass. Okay, he's a gardener type person. He would grow the wheatgrass and grind it up and have us drink it. Oh my god, so nasty. Yeah, and they're not even good for you. I don't think there are any health benefits either. So he thought, he was like, oh, it's very nutritious. You guys should drink it, okay? You guys should drink it every day. This story is getting crazy. Yeah, our story. Yep. We'll talk about that later. You love matcha and that grassy flavor? A little bit of it is good. I don't like it too strong. Yeah, and usually when you have matcha, like matcha ice cream or whatever, that's nothing, right? That's nothing like real matcha. It's very the taste is not as strong, right? And it's sweet too. When you have matcha ice cream or something, it's sweet, right? But if you just drink the tea, it's not sweet at all. It's just it tastes like grass, honestly. He was toughening me up. Yeah. Matcha is super rich in antioxidants. I don't know about that. Maybe you're right. What about wheatgrass? Does wheatgrass have any nutritious value? I don't think so. I believe I looked it up once. I don't think there's such a thing as like a superfood. You know what I mean? When people are like, "Oh," when someone touts some single food as a superfood, like, "Oh, it's so nutritious, you should eat it every day." I don't think that exists. I think you should just eat a variety of food. I think that's the best way to do it. I don't think there's any single food that is just super healthy for you. All right, hold on. All right. Let's see if we can do this in 2 minutes. Let's do it. Oof, not a good start. Oof. Okay. I and E. Not bad. Not bad. Diets? No, no T. Night. Night. Nine. Nines. Nile. I think night should be good, right? Night. Yeah, let's try that. Okay. 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 All right, we got all the letters. We just have to put them together. G-I. No. High. Hinge? H-I-N-G-E? Whoa! That was like less than 2 minutes. How is that? How is that? Did anyone guess that? No, no one guessed that. I was the first. All right, not bad. How did we... All right, played. 97 win percentage. I think I lost 3 times in total. What's up, Bigfoot? New record? I think new record was like under 1 minute. Oh, have you guys heard of this one? It's called Loodle. Just like Wordle, but with lewd words. I think it's hard. I think I might have. I might need chat's help on this one. Just all lewd words. So if it's a 5-letter word, gotta go with penis, right? Oof. All right, what else? I. What is it called? It's Loodle. Are we gonna do geography again? Yeah, we'll do geography. All right, guys. 5-letter word with an I in it. Dirty word. Dirty. Oh. Okay. Not dirty, but what? Ert. Girth. Right? G-I. Oh my god. We're on a roll today. That was like less than a minute, right? Hell yeah. Too many letters? No. Not bad. All right. So we can do geography. Should we what part of the world should we do? What part of the world? We did North America last time. I think Asia would be good. Not Southeast Asia. We're pretty good at that. But in the entirety of Asia. What is this site? It's called loodlegame.com. Can you read it? Yeah, Lewd. You've been doing the French version of Wordle? Well, I can't do that. All right, let's do Asia. Asia geog. What's up, Katie? Nice of you to join. Is it blurry? Wait. All right, guys. This is Asia, okay? How do you think we will do? I think we got Southeast Asia down, but the entirety of Asia, I don't know about that. For example, where the hell is Bahrain? I don't think we're gonna finish it this today, guys. I might need a couple of days. Where's Bahrain? It's one of these, right? Oh god. This? Oh, UAE. Bahrain. Where's Bahrain? Oh god. Okay. Iraq. I know where that is. Wait. Do I? This is Iran, right? This is Iraq. No. This is Afghanistan, right? Or is this Afghanistan? No, this is Afghanistan. This is Iran, so this should be Iraq. Bhutan. I think that's here, right? Nope. Nope. Wait. Bhutan. Okay. Japan. All right. Indonesia is this one. Vietnam. Can't guess that wrong. If I guess that wrong, my dad's gonna come over and just beat me right on stream. Pakistan. This is Pakistan. No, wait. Yeah. Uzbekistan. Oh, it's one of these, right? One of these? Okay, okay. Let's go. Philippines, Sri Lanka, here. Turkey is this one. Saudi Arabia is here. Afghanistan is here. Mongolia here. UAE, oh, we had that. Where was it? Okay. Armenia. It's next to Iraq. Oof. Oof. Or not. Where was it? Okay. Taiwan. South Korea. Russia. Oman is, oof. It's one of these. Ooh, which one? This must be Yemen. Okay. Myanmar. Iran. Qatar. Is it here? Oh. Is it here? Qatar. Then what is this? This is Israel. Oh, Syria. Qatar. Oh. What? I didn't even see that. Yemen. Where the fuck? This is Yemen. Okay. Singapore is this guy. Georgia. Next to Russia, because I know they invaded. Is this Georgia? Or is this? Georgia, China, Israel. Wait. No. Turkmenistan. Wait, what is this then? It's one of these. It's one of these fake countries. Okay, okay. Cambodia. Brunei. Okay. Brunei is like, no. Here. Ah! Here. India. East Timor. Here. Where's West Timor? Tajikistan. Okay, another fake country around here, I think. Okay. Maldives. Is this the Maldives? Okay. Kyrgyzstan. I bet it's this one. Jordan. Ah, it's one of these. Oh god, that's Syria. Okay. Malaysia. Malaysia. Thailand. Nepal. I bet it's this one. Nope. Yep. Bangladesh. Lebanon. Here? Nope. Ah, here. Yes. Azerbaijan, North Korea, Laos, Syria, Kuwait. Kazakhstan. Oh, that's Kazakhstan. All right, not bad. Not bad. Someone did not pay attention in the classroom. True. Not bad. 77%. Okay. I get confused on these countries and then over here. No, most of the Middle East. Gotta say. Yeah, I think we do pretty well here. Southeast Asia. Gotta work on this part. 6 out of 10? C plus? Oh, thank you. C plus is like an F to an Asian, so gonna have to seppuku myself right now. All right, before we get started. What is this? It looks like seaweed chips, maybe? Let's see. Okay. Okay, seaweed. Oh. Hmm. A lot of citrusy flavor. Very strong. I taste citrus. Also some seaweed. Not bad. I like lemons and limes, so citrusy flavor is doing very well. Good stuff. Oh my god. Very strong citrus. I like it. A little bit of sweetness goes very well. I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10, guys. 8 out of 10. I am Asian, not Cesian. True. You almost killed yourself over an A minus once. Really? That's not true. That can't be true. You know, my dad made me cry once over my over my report card. So I was in middle school. I think I was in 7th grade. 6th or 7th grade. Yeah, I got my report card back, okay? It was all A's except for 1 B plus. Okay? 1 B yeah, I think all A's except for 1 A minus and then 1 B plus. He looked at it. I was pretty proud. I was like, "Oh my god, it's pretty good, right?" I thought it was pretty good. I showed it to my dad and he looked at it. And he looked at the A minus and he's like, "What's with this A minus? What is with this A minus?" Then he sees the B plus. He's like, "What is this? What is this, Lin? Huh? What is this, son? Son, what is this? Why is that not an A?" I was like, "Dad, it's pretty good. All the rest are A's." And he started yelling and he started yelling me out, and it was pretty bad. And he wouldn't stop. He's like, "Oh, I raised my kids. Wait, I'm an immigrant. I came over here to America to have a future for my kids. All of the Asian-y dad type stuff." And he keeps on yelling. And I'm sitting there. I'm like feeling worse and worse for myself, and I started crying. I started crying. Then I think soon after he stopped. He's like, "I'm gonna yell." I think in his mind he was like, "I'm gonna yell at this kid until he cries." right? And then I'm done. My purpose is to make him cry. To make him learn his fucking lesson. This little bastard son of mine. Yeah. Afterwards, I had all A's, okay? Through the rest of middle school. It was just A's. Across the board, baby. So I guess it worked. But I seem well adjusted now, so that's all right. You would think so. But how would you know? How would I know? Maybe if he hadn't yelled at me, I would have been like a millionaire now. Or maybe because he yelled at me that I'm successful now. You never know. Do I think that is worth it? I don't know. I guess it worked. I tried really hard afterwards. Yeah. I don't think I cried because why did I cry? It was a long time ago. I think I cried not because like of the yelling and stuff. I think it was because I was disappointing my dad. Yeah. Asian parents really like to use that disappointment. Yeah, I think it was because I disappointed my dad, and that's why I cried. So I didn't want to do that anymore. Afterwards, I had all A's. Yeah, it wasn't fear. It was like disappointment. All right. All right, class. Oh, thanks, Kai. That's nice of you to say. All right. Can my dad have a chat with your 15-year-old? I don't. First of all, he can't, because he can't speak English. So no. Am I silent? Can you hear me? Oh. It should be good now. All right, guys. So what happened last week in our story? A lot happened last week, okay? A lot. So we were in the middle of this coup attempt of the Beggars clan, right? They're trying to depose our man Chao Feng. All right, and this monk, the Reverend Ji Guang, arrives. He was invited by one of the elders in the Beggars clan, and he talks about the past. Okay, this is a very important story. He talks about the past. Way back 30 years ago, this Reverend Ji Guang, this monk, he wasn't a monk back then. Okay, he was just a dude. They got news that the Khitan people were planning to sneak into Song, China to steal secret martial arts material of Shaolin Temple, right? So the Khitan people were like people in the northeast there. They want to invade and stuff. So they got news that these people, they're trying to send a group of people to come steal the secret martial arts of Shaolin. So the Reverend Ji Guang and a group of heroes decide to ambush the Khitan, right? So they hide, they see this group of people come in, they attack them, and they easily kill them off, right? They, like this group of guards or whatever, they easily kill them off, but then they run into a couple with a baby, and they attack them too. Now, the woman and the baby didn't know much martial arts, so they were cut down. But the man was super strong. So this group of heroes, they killed this woman. So her husband, who is grief-stricken, he decides to fight back, and he kills most of the group of heroes. Kills most of the band of heroes. And but then he sees that his wife and kid is dead, and he takes a sword and he carves some words onto a cliff face, right? These are Khitan words, so the Chinese people can't read them. These are Khitan words. He carves it on the cliff face, then he takes his wife and baby and he jumps off a cliff, right? Suicides himself. But I think, so as he's falling down, this man realizes that the baby is still alive. And the baby is still alive. I guess the baby woke up or something. And he throws the baby back up the cliff. And he's really good at martial arts, I guess. So he throws the baby back up the cliff. And it lands safely on top of the cliff. So he and the wife die. Now, the leader of this band of heroes and Reverend Ji Guang, they were still alive. So they decide not to kill the baby yet, and they decide to get a translation of the words that were carved on the cliff. Now, so Reverend Ji Guang is telling this story, but he doesn't reveal what the words on the cliff face were. He doesn't reveal. Yeah, he says they were too shameful. It was too shameful for him to reveal. He just says that, "Oh my God, we were mistaken," right? So that group wasn't the Khitan people who were trying to steal martial arts. They were Khitan people, but they were not trying to steal martial arts. They were like just normal Khitan people, I guess. So that rumor that they were gonna go steal some martial arts was a lie. All right. So they decide to raise this innocent baby, and a Shaolin monk teaches him martial arts as he grows up. But everyone was wary of this little baby, right? Because they were like, oh, maybe his Khitan blood would cause him to betray Song China. Or maybe he'll discover where he came from and then he'll betray Song China, right? But he grew up to be a strong, virtuous man, eventually becoming the chief of the Beggars Clan, right? And the huge reveal is that this baby is Qiao Feng, our man Qiao Feng, right? So Qiao Feng hears this news. He can't believe it. He's a Khitan person. He's a Khitan. He's not Han Chinese. So he's always thought of the Khitan as the enemy of his country. But now he finds out that he's one of them, which is pretty sad for this guy. Now, and then so Madame Ma, which is the widow of the dead Vice Chief Ma, she tells her story. She said, oh, she found an envelope in her husband's things, right? So her husband died. She went through his things. She found this envelope. And outside the envelope, it says that if I die peacefully, burn this envelope. If I die suspiciously, give it to the elders of the Beggars Clan. So Madame Ma, she brings it to Elder Shu, which is like a retired elder of the Beggars Clan. So he brings it to that guy. And the Elder Shu shows it to everyone. And he pulls out 2 letters inside this envelope. One of the letters is from the previous chief of the Beggars Clan. And now this previous chief, he was also at the cliff place where they ambushed the Khitan people too. He survived too. So he knows about Qiao Feng's origins. So he says, so this letter from the previous chief says that if Qiao Feng does anything against Song China, you can use any means to kill him, right? So he'll allow anyone to kill Qiao Feng by any means. All right, which shows that even the previous chief, his kind of mentor, even the previous chief was suspicious of him, right? Even Qiao Feng's previous chief was suspicious of him. And then the second letter was the letter from the leader of that band of heroes 30 years ago, saying that he was suspicious of Qiao Feng and he disagreed with making Qiao Feng chief of the Beggars Clan, right? Now, this letter was signed by the leader, but the Reverend Ji Guang, this monk, he takes the letter and he tears off a part of the letter which had the signature of the leader, and he swallows it, right? So he's keeping the leader's name secret. He doesn't want Qiao Feng to go after him, to find out who the leader is and go after him. So he drinks, he swallows it. So yeah, so it looks like this is the reason why these people, now we get to reveal, it's revealed, right? So this is the reason why these people in the Beggars clan are attempting this coup, because they found out that Xiao Feng is a Khitan person, not a Han Chinese. All right, how's that? So a lot of developments. All right, let me pull up the story. Oof. All right, so we left off when Xiao Feng was reading the letter from the from who's this? From the previous chief. Okay. You wonder if Duan Yu is regretting becoming sworn brothers with this guy? I don't think so. I don't think Duan Yu cares, right? He's not even from Han China. Duan Yu is from Dali, a different country. All right, let's read this again. Okay, so he's reading the letter from the previous chief of the Beggars clan. Qiao Feng received it. He only saw the letter, paper read. Instructions to Vice Chief Ma of the Beggar Society, the Elder of Merit Propagation, the Elder of Rule Enforcement, and the other elders. If Qiao Feng has any deed that is pro-Liao, this is the Khitans, and anti-Han, this is the Song China, and helps Khitan fight against the great Song, the whole society must join forces to kill him, and make no mistake. Poisoning and assassination can both be applied. The killer will get credit for and not be guilty of doing so. Wang Jiantong personally penned. So Wang Jiantong is the previous chief. The date written at the end of the letter was Great Song, the 6th Yuan Feng year, the 7th day of the 5th month. Qiao Feng remembered clearly that it had been the day he had been. Qiao Feng remembered clearly that it had been the day he had taken over the chief of the Beggars clan position. So this letter was written the day he took office, basically. Oh, wait. Chapter 16, Part 2. You get a song. You don't get a song if I forget. That wasn't the deal. You think Duan Yu's staring at Wang Yuyan the whole time? Probably. Yeah, he probably wasn't even paying attention. Qiao Feng knew without a doubt that these several rows of words were really Anshi. What is Anshi again? Like mentor? Wang Jiantong's handwriting. Thus, he was no longer uncertain about his origins. However, recalling that Anshi had always acted like a kind father, being strict in teaching, but also very affectionate, Qiao Feng found it hard to believe that he had secretly written and left behind this order on the day he had taken over the chief of the Beggars clan position. He felt heartbroken. Tears streamed down his face, drop by drop, falling on the instructions of Chief Wang. That was part of the deal? I thought part of the deal was I take a swig. I take a drink of some liquor if I forget. Elder Shu slowly said, Chief Chow, please don't blame us for being disrespectful. Originally, only Vice Chief Ma knew about these instructions of Chief Wang. He kept them very carefully and never told anyone about them. In the past several years, you behaved straightforwardly and didn't have any action that was pro-Liao and anti-Song, and helped Khitan to oppress the Han people. So Chief Wang's instructions were naturally of no use. It wasn't until the tragic death of Vice Chief Ma that Madame Ma found out about this order. At first, everyone suspected that Vice Chief Ma was killed by Mu Ronggongzhi of Gusu. This is Mu Rongfu. If you settled this score for Brother Daiyuan, then there'd be no need to expose your origin. Lao Xiu. Oh no. This means old senile. Okay. This, I guess you can translate this as this old man. He's talking about himself. This old man thought about this again and again. Because of the big picture, I wanted to destroy the letter and Chief Wang's order, but... Saying to hear, he looked at Madame Ma and said, Firstly, because Madame Ma earnestly wants to avenge her husband's death. It's impossible to just let the wrongs that Brother Daiyuan suffered remain unsolved, or let him die with an eternal grievance. Secondly, Chief Chiao supported the Hu people, a conduct that has really endangered our society. Gongzi means young unmarried man, so like a young man. Yeah, so this is Mu Rongfu. Qiao Fang asked, I supported the Hu people? Where did you get this from? Elder Shu said, The two words Mu Rong are a Hu surname. The Mu Rong clan is the descendant of the Xianbei people. Just like Khitan, they are an uncivilized ethnic group. Qiao Fang said, Huh. So it was because of that. But I didn't know anything about it. Elder Shu continued, Thirdly, a lot of people in the society already know that you are a Khitan. It's no good concealing it. Qiao Fang looked into the sky and let out a sigh. It was not until now that the depressing doubts and suspicions that had been in his mind for quite a while were cleared up. He asked Chang Guanqing, Chang Guanqing, you knew that I'm a Khitan descendant, so you opposed me, didn't you? Chang Guanqing said, Yes. Qiao Fang asked again. The four elders, Song, Shi, Chen, Wu, they listened to you and tried to kill me also, because of this reason? Chang Guanqing said, Correct. But they only half believed me and couldn't make a decision. When the situation became critical, they also chickened out. Qiao Fang said, The clue about my origin, where did you get it from? This matter involves outsiders, so excuse me for not being able to tell you. You should know that paper cannot wrap fire. No matter how you conceal your origin, someone would eventually find out about it. The Elder of Rule Enforcement has also already known about it for a long time. They just assume collusion because he's a Khitan? Yep. In a twinkling, thoughts in Qiao Fang's mind surged up like tidal waves. For a moment, he thought, They've gotten jealous, making up all kinds of lies to frame me. Even if I, Qiao Fang, am all by myself, I won't surrender and will fight bravely to the death. But immediately he also thought, Angshi's order is absolutely genuine. Jiguang Dashi, that's the monk, is a person of high virtue and good reputation, and doesn't bear any resentment towards me. Why should he set up this dirty plan? Elder Su is an important senior figure of our society. How can it be that he has the intention of overthrowing the society? The society is the Beggars Clan. Impartial Judge, Shangzheng, Grandpa Tan, Granny Tan are all renowned seniors in Wulin. This Zhao Qianzun guy is screwy, but he's also not a zilch. How can this matter be false when they all tell the same thing? Yeah, so there are a lot of people who have no motive to lie, right? So it must be the truth. He must be a Khitan. After listening to the words of the people like Jiguang and Elder Shu, the mood of the beggar crowd was totally confused. Some people had already heard that he was a Khitan descendant, but they only half believed it. The others were only made aware of it at that moment. They found the evidence authentic, as it seemed even Qiao Feng himself believed so already. Qiao Feng had always been kind and fair to his subordinates. His abilities, his virtue, and martial arts were admired by everyone, hence no one could have thought that he was a Khitan descendant. But the enmity between Liao and Great Song were extremely deep, and countless beggar clan disciples had died at the hands of the Liao people over the years. Therefore, letting a Khitan serve as the chief of the beggars clan was really out of the question. Yeah, because you got to remember the Khitan and the Han, right? The Liao and Song have been at war, so they pretty much hate each other. So yeah, so for a Khitan to be the chief of the Beggars clan, I don't think anyone would allow that to happen. However, no one dared to speak out to demand his expulsion from the society. For a short time, the apricot forest became quiet. Only the sounds of everyone's heavy breaths could be heard. Suddenly, there was the clear voice of a woman. Uncles and brothers, my late husband unfortunately passed away. At the moment, I can't say for sure who murdered him, thinking that my late husband was always sincere and steady, and though he wasn't well spoken, he didn't have an enemy in Jianghu. I really can't imagine why someone had to take his life, but they say that tardily hiding valuable things induces thieves. Was it because my late husband had something important in his hands that until somebody else had, they wouldn't be satisfied? Was that they murdered him was, what? Was that they murdered him as a witness because they feared he would let out the secret, damaging important affairs? It was Ma Dayuan's widow, Madame Ma, who said these words. The purpose of these several sentences was very clear, directly suggesting that the murderer of Ma Dayuan was Qiao Feng, and the purpose of his deed was to cover up the evidence of him being a Khitan. Qiao Feng, so even the widow thinks Qiao Feng killed her husband. Qiao Feng slowly turned his head, looked directly at this timid-looking, dainty, elegant woman who was wearing a full-length white mourning dress, and asked, "You suspect that I murdered Vice Chief Ma?" All the time, Madame Ma had been turning her back to Qiao Feng and looking down at the ground. At this moment, she suddenly raised her head and looked at him. Seeing her eyes shining like gems and sparkling in the darkness, Qiao Feng was slightly afraid. He heard her say, "I am an ignorant woman. Showing my face in public is already unwise. How dare I randomly accuse someone else? But my late husband died with a grievance. Uncles, I beg of you, think about an old friendship. Investigate and discover the truth to avenge my late husband." As she finished saying, she gracefully bent down and unexpectedly kowtowed to Qiao Feng. She didn't state that Qiao Feng was the murderer, but every word she said pointed towards him. Seeing her kowtowing to him, even though Qiao Feng was angry, it was inappropriate for him to have an outburst. He had no alternative but to kneel down and return the salute, and said, "Shaozhi," a term to call a wife of one's older brother. "Please stand up." Suddenly, on the left-hand side of the apricot forest, the voice of a girl could be heard. "Madame Ma, there's a doubt in my mind. May I ask you a question?" Everyone turned in the direction of the voice and saw a young girl wearing a reddish gown. She was Ju. Madame Ma asked, "What do you want to interrogate me about?" Ju said, I dare not interrogate you. I heard you say that Senior Ma had tightly sealed these letters with sealing wax, and when Elder Shu opened it, the paint imprint was still intact. Does that mean before Elder Shu opened the letters, no one had seen their contents? Madame Ma said, That's correct. Then, besides Senior Ma, originally nobody else knew about the letter of that leading big brother in Chief Wang's order. So words like tardily hiding valuable things induces thieves, murdered a witness just shouldn't have been said. So she's saying that no one knew the contents of the letter, right? No one knew the contents of the envelope. So, meaning Qiao Feng couldn't have known, so he couldn't have killed. He couldn't have killed the Vice Chief Ma to protect the secret because he didn't know about this secret, right? If he hadn't opened the envelope, he wouldn't have known about this secret. So why would he be killing Vice Chief Ma to hide a secret? Aju is the smartest one there. True. Hearing these words of Aju, everyone found them very reasonable. Madame Ma said, Who are you? Why do you meddle in our society's important affairs? I'm just a little girl. How dare I meddle in your society's important affairs? But since you all want to frame my young master, I can't help but to discern based on reasons. Madame Ma asked again, Who is your young master? Is he Chief Qiao? Aju shook her head, smiled, and said, No, he is Murong Gongzhu. Madame Ma said, I see. She stopped, paying attention to Aju, turned towards the elder of rule enforcement, and said, Elder Bai, the rules of our society are as firm as a rock. If you violate them, how shall you be punished? The muscles on the face of the elder of rule enforcement, Bai Shijing, slightly twitched. He said solemnly, Deliberately breaking the rules, the seriousness of illegal deeds shall be increased by 1 level. Madame Ma said, Then how about a person who has a higher rank than even you? Bai Shijing knew who she was pointing towards, so he could not help casting a glance at Xiao Feng and said, The rules of our society were created by our ancestors. Everyone must comply with them, irrespective of rank or position. The same contributions will be rewarded the same offenses will be punished the same. Wait, the guy who did the Wordle thing just graduated as a physicist? Oh, the dude who created Wordle? He's now a physicist? Oh, cool. I would think he was like some kind of computer scientist or something. Madame Ma said, The young lady is quite right to be suspicious of this. At first I thought so too. But in the evening of the immediate day before I received the sad news about my late husband's death, someone suddenly sneaked into our house to steal. Everyone was surprised. Someone asked, Steal? What was stolen? Did anyone get injured? Madame Ma said, No one was harmed. The thief used 3 sedative-imbued incense sticks to make me and 2 maids faint and fall to the floor. He then rummaged through everything in my house and stole about 10 taels of silver. The next day I received the sad news that my late husband had unluckily been murdered. But how could I have the mind to care about the matter of a thief stealing silver? Fortunately, my husband kept these letters in a very secret place, so it wasn't stolen and destroyed by that thief. These several sentences were even clearer, obviously indicating that Xiao Feng either himself went to or sent a person to Ma Dayuan's house to steal these letters. Since he had wanted to steal the letters, he must have already known about their contents. Thus, it could be said that the matter of murdering the witness had been made clear. As for how he knew about the contents of the letters, that leading hero is the leader of that band of heroes 30 years ago. That leading hero, Chief Wang or Vice Chief Ma, accidentally giving some information away was also not something impossible to have happened. Okay, so maybe Qiao Feng did not know about the contents of the letters, but maybe one of these people revealed the secret to him accidentally. Aju wholeheartedly wanted to vindicate Mu Rongfu, but also did not want Qiao Feng to be embroiled in this. She said, "A thief stealing several tens of silver taels isn't unusual. It's just that the timing of it was coincidental, that's all." Madame Ma said, "What you just said is very true. At first I thought so as well, but later at the window where the thief entered and left the house, I picked up an object at the foot of the wall. It was dropped by the thief in his hurry. When I just saw it, I got panicked and knew that this was no small matter." Elder Song said, "What was the object? Why is this no small matter?" Madame Ma slowly took an object, which was 8 or 10 9 tun long, out of the what is that? Out of the cloth bag on her back, passed it to Elder Shu and said, "Uncles, please be the judge." After Elder Shu received that object, she dropped onto the ground and burst into tears. Everyone turned to Elder Shu, only seeing him spreading out that object, which turned out to be a folding fan. Elder Shu lowered his voice and read aloud a poem written on the one side of the fan. "The snow of the north is floating at Yanmen Pass. On the sandy plain, grass roots are being blown chaotically in the air. I'll feel ashamed if my feats are judged by the number of enemies I've captured. I only wish I can personally destroy the enemy country to repay the motherland." When Xiao Feng heard that poem, he was really shocked. As he focused his eyes on the fan, he saw a picture named "The Hero Comes Out of the Frontier Fortress to Fight the Enemy," drawn on the other side of it. This fan really belonged to him. That poem had been written on it by Anshi Wang Jiantong, this is the previous chief, and that picture had been drawn on it by Elder Shu. Even though the penmanship was not very refined, it had an air of heroism and righteousness, and when combined with the north wind and heavy snow depicted in the picture, it looked even more heroic and intense. This fan had been given to him on his 25th birthday as a present by Anshi, by the previous chief. He had always treasured it and kept it carefully. How come it had been lost at Ma Dayuan's house? Moreover, as he had a liberal character, he never brought such things as a folding fan with him. A tsun is like a Chinese inch. Got it. Thank you. Okay, so she found his fan at her house. How? How? Elder Shu turned the fan over, looked carefully at the picture, which had been drawn on it with his own hands, let out a deep sigh, and mumbled, "Not belonging to our ethnic group." Wait, what? Not belong. How did I do the old voice again? "Not belonging to our ethnic group. His heart must be different. Chief Wang? Chief Wang, you made a big mistake about this matter." When Xiao Feng suddenly learned about his origins, unexpectedly being a Khitan descendant, all sorts of feelings welled up in his hearts. He has multiple. For the past 10 years, he had tried his best every day to devise plans to defeat Liao and kill more Khitan aggressors. Therefore, when all of a sudden he was confronted with this shocking matter, even though he had weathered many great storms, he could not help feeling at a loss. But after Madame Ma had again and again accused him of plotting the murder of Ma Dayuan, the murder of Ma Dayuan and his folding fan had also appeared. He calmed down. In an instant, several thoughts ran through his mind. Someone stole my folding fan to shift the blame onto me. This kind of trick can't cause Qiao Feng difficulties. He turned to Elder Shu and said, "Elder Shu, this folding fan is mine." When the people who had relatively high ranks or important positions in the beggar's clan had heard Elder Shu reading aloud those verses, they immediately knew that it was Qiao Feng's, but the rest of the clan did not know about that. When they heard the confirmation from Qiao Feng himself, they were all stunned. Elder Shu also became very emotional. He mumbled, On the whole, Chief Wang considered me a trusted subordinate, yet this important matter of leaving behind an order, he didn't let me know about it. Oh, Claire, you think she did it? Oh, maybe. Madame Ma stood up and said, Elder Shu, it was good for you that Chief Wang didn't tell you. Elder Shu did not understand. He asked, What? Madame Ma mournfully said, In the Beggars clan, only Da Yuan knew about this matter. He then suffered a grievous death. Had you known about the matter before, you may not have escaped this disaster. Xiao Feng said loudly and clearly, Does anyone have something else to say? His eyes looked at Madame Ma, then turned to Elder Shu, to Bai Shijing, to the Elder of Merit Propagation, then to everyone else. No one said anything. Xiao Feng waited for a moment. Seeing that no one said anything, he said, My origin, I'm really ashamed that I myself cannot confirm it, but because so many seniors have affirmed it, I must do my best to find out the truth. This chief of the Beggars Clan position, I'm leaving it to a worthy person. Saying to hear, he reached into a long bag on his right foot and took out a glossy dark green bamboo stick, which was the dog-beating stick, the symbol of the chief of the Beggars Clan, and said, This stick was given to me by Chief Wang when I was in charge of the Beggars Clan, even though I didn't have any contribution. Luckily, I didn't commit any serious offense either. Today, I give up my position. If any heroic, worthy person wants to take on this post, please come to receive this stick. According to the rules of the Beggars Clan that had been passed down from generation to generation, when a new chief assumed their post, the post had to be handed over by the former chief using the dog-beating stick. And before the stick was handed over, the dog-beating stick technique had to be passed on. So you have the dog-beating stick, which is a symbol of the chief, and you have a martial arts technique associated with it. Okay, so you can use it to do like your martial arts. So even the techniques have to be passed on too. Hence, even if the former chief suddenly passed away, the successor had already been confirmed, and the dog-beating stick technique had also already been passed on. Therefore, there had never been any dispute over the chief position. Qiao Feng was in the prime of his life. He had estimated that in every case, 20 years later, he would select a heroic, worthy person in the Beggars Clan to pass on the dog-beating stick technique. At this moment, seeing him holding the bamboo stick in his hand and standing fearlessly in front of everybody, who in the beggar crowd dared to come out and receive the stick? Qiao Feng successively asked 3 times, but no one in the Beggars Clan said anything. He said, Qiao Feng's origin is unclear, so no matter what, I dare not be in charge of this chief position anymore. Elder Shu and the 2 elders of merit propagation and rule enforcement, this society stabilizing treasure, the dog-beating stick, you 3, please, take care of it together. Later, once you've decided on another chief, it won't be late for the 3 of you to hand it over. The dog-biting stick? No, the dog-beating stick. Yeah, why is it called the dog-beating stick? Do they actually beat dogs with it? That's not cool. Oh, or whoever they fight with it is a dog. So Elder Shu said, It's sensible to say so. As for the dog-beating stick technique, we're gonna discuss it in the future. He went forwards to receive the bamboo stick. Suddenly, Elder Song loudly said, Wait! Elder Shu stopped in surprise and asked, Brother Song, what do you want to say? Elder Song said, As far as I can tell, Chief Qiao isn't a Khitan. How do you know that? Elder Song said, I find him different than a Khitan. How different? Khitan people are vicious, ruthless, and cruel. But Chief Chow is a righteous, noble hero. Only a moment ago, we opposed him, but he still willingly suffered stabs and shed blood for us, and pardoned us for the serious offense of revolt. How can a Khitan be like this? Elder Shu said, from his childhood, he was taught by eminent Shaolin monks and Chief Wang, so his ferocious Khitan character has already changed. Some real racists in this story? True. Elder Song said, as his character has changed, he's no longer an evil man. What's improper with him being our chief? I see that in our clan, there's no one else as heroic as him. If anybody else wants to be the chief, I'm afraid I myself won't be content. Yeah, wait, if his character already changed, then why does it matter? Many people in the Beggar's clan had the same thought as Elder Song's. Xiao Feng's kindness had always been in the mind of everyone, merely based on verbal statements and written evidences of some people. To remove him from the chief position certainly made many people who were loyal to him feel discontent. After Elder Song had taken the lead in speaking his mind, several tens of people in the beggar crowd also shouted out, someone's plotting to frame Chief Chow. We can't recklessly believe their words. Things that happened tens of years ago just based on the bullshit of some of you who can find out if they're true or fake. The chief position can't be changed so rashly like this. I wholeheartedly follow Chief Chow. If they forcefully change the chief post, even if my head is cut off, I'll still be discontent. Elder Xi loudly said, those who are willing to follow Chief Chow, go with me to this side. He pulled Elder Song with his left hand, pulled Elder Wu with his right hand, and walked to the east. After that, the three heads of the Great Kindness Branch, the Great Faith Branch, and the Great Righteousness Branch also walked to the east. After the heads of these three branches had gone to the east, their subordinates one by one went after them. Cheng Wanqing, Elder Chun, the Elder of Merit Propagation, and the heads of the Great Wisdom Branch, of the Great Courage, and the Great Courage Branch, however, stood still. Therefore, in a moment, the Beggar's clan members were divided into two groups. The one in the east consisted of 5 tents, and the one who stood still consisted of 3 tents. The rest of the society's members were hesitant, not knowing which group they should follow. The elder of rule enforcement, Bai Shijing, had always been resolute and decisive in his actions and stood by his word. But at this moment, he felt very awkward and hesitant, too. Oh no, are we going to have a civil war? Cheng Wanjing said, brothers, Chief Chow is outstandingly capable and heroic. Who doesn't admire him? But being the common people of Great Song, how can we listen to and obey the orders of a Khitan? The greater Xiao Feng's abilities are, the more dangerous he is to everyone. Elder Xi shouted, bullshit! Bullshit! Fuck you! As far as I can see, you look almost like a Khitan. Cheng Guanqing loudly said, everyone here is a good Han who dedicates himself to the service of the motherland. How could we willingly serve as slaves and lackeys of another ethnicity? These few sentences of his were really effective. In the group of beggars who had walked to the east, there were more than 10 people returning to the west. The beggars in the east then swore and pulled, creating a confusing situation. In an instant, several tens of people engaged in a melee, some using unarmed martial arts, and some using weapons. The elders said loudly to hold back the situation, but each of them had his own bias. Elder Wu and Elder Chun even fiercely pointed at and swore at each other, like they would start a fight any moment. Xiao Feng shouted, brothers, please, stop fighting and hear me. His voice was imposing. The wrangle in the beggar crowd immediately stopped. All turned their heads and looked at him. Xiao Feng said in a loud and clear voice, this chief of the beggar's clan post, I definitely can no longer hold it. Elder Song interrupted. Chief, you mustn't lose heart. Xiaofeng shook his head and said, It's not that I've lost heart. If the evidence was something else, then there might be a plot to frame me. But this is my Onshi, Chief Wang's handwriting. Other people can't fake it, in any case. He raised his voice, saying, The Beggars Clan is the greatest society in Jianghu and has an illustrious prestige. Who in Wulin doesn't revere it? If we kill each other, wouldn't that make outsiders laugh their heads off? Before I go, I have one thing to tell you. That is, whoever lands another punch or kick on our society's brothers will become an offender of the highest level of our society. The Beggars Society. Why do I keep saying this? I like Beggars Clan better. The Beggars Clan had always had a high opinion of courage and righteousness. Hence, hearing him say so, everyone secretly felt ashamed. Suddenly, the voice of a woman was heard. Then, what if someone kills our Beggars Clan's brothers? The person who said that was Madame Ma. Xiaofeng said, An eye for an eye. For harming or murdering his brothers, he'll be detested by the whole world. Madame Ma said, That's right. Xiaofeng said, Who murdered my Vice Chief Ma? Who stole this folding fan of mine to frame me? Eventually, everything will be able to be cleared up by investigation. Madame Ma, with my abilities, if I want to go to your house to get something, I wouldn't return empty-handed. It'd be even more improbable for me to lose something I bring with me. True. True. Xiaofeng is like a master of martial arts, right? He wouldn't make a mistake like that. Needless to say, there were only 2 or 3 women in your house, even if it was the imperial palace, the mansion of a general, or a place guarded by a strong army with thousands of horses. If I wanted to take something, I wouldn't necessarily be unable to get it done. These few sentences sounded very imposing. The beggar crowd had always known about his abilities. Therefore, they all found his words reasonable. No one thought that he had just talked big. Madame Ma lowered her head and said nothing. Xiaofeng cupped his hand around his fist in salute to everyone all around and said, The verdant hills will never change. The green waters will flow forever. Farewell, my good brothers. It's all right if I am a Han. It's also all right if I'm a Khitan. From now on, I won't ever endanger the life of any Han. If I break this vow, I shall be like this saber. As he finished saying, he leapt towards Shanzheng and made a grab at the same time. Shanzheng only felt a jerk at his wrist. The saber in his hand could no longer be held firmly. His fingers loosened. The saber had already been snatched by Xiaofeng. Xiaofeng bent his right middle finger with his right thumb and gave the back of the saber a finger flick. A clang was heard. The saber had been broken into 2 pieces. The top of it had been sent flying away for several qi. The handle was still being held in his hand. He turned towards Shanzheng. Hey, that's not cool. You just broke his sword. He turned towards Shanzheng, said, Excuse me, then threw the handle to the ground and walked away proudly. Everyone was astounded. Someone shouted after him, Chief, don't go! The Beggars Clan totally relies on your direction. Chief, please return quickly. All of a sudden, a whizzing sound could be heard. A bamboo stick went down from midair. It was none other than Xiaofeng, who had thrown the dog-beating stick backwards. Wait, he knows the dog-beating stick technique. Does anyone else know it? Isn't he supposed to pass down that technique to the next chief? Elder Shu held out his hand to receive it. As soon as his right hand got hold of the bamboo stick, he experienced a shaking which spread from his palm up to his arm, from his arm through his whole body, and made him feel as if being hit by a thunderbolt. He quickly let go of it. As the leftover force of the throw in the stick was still strong, it passed straight into the ground. The beggar crowd exclaimed in unison, Looking at this very important, seeing the stick is like seeing the chief symbol of their clan. All kinds of thoughts ran through their minds. Isn't the old chief still alive? No, the old chief is already dead. He died. The sun had risen. Through spaces between branches and leaves of apricot trees, rays of golden light came down and illuminated the dog-beating stick, making it shine like glossy jade. Duan Yu called out, Big brother, I'll go with you. He set out to... Oh, he was listening. He wasn't just looking at Wang Yuyan the entire time. He set out to chase after Qiao Feng, but after just 3 steps, feeling unable to leave Wang Yuyan at this moment, he turned his head and cast a look at her. This one look made him feel even more unable to pull away. Thousands of soft silk threads seemed to have appeared in his heart, pulling him back. He turned around, went to and stood before Wang Yuyan, then said, Miss Wang, where are the 3 of you going now? Wang Yuyan said, Biao Wait. Maternal aunts, paternal aunts, or maternal uncle's son. Okay. So, oh, that's her cousin. Why can't you just say that? That's Murongfu. Murongfu has been given a false accusation. Perhaps he himself hasn't known about it. I need to inform him. Duan Yu felt his heart ache. Wait, I think I gave her a different voice. Duan Yu felt his heart ache with sadness. He said, You are young ladies. There'll be inconveniences to you on the way. Please allow me to escort the 3 of you. He also added another sentence, trying to explain himself away. Having heard a lot about Murong Gongzhi's illustrious reputation, I also want to meet him once. Elder Shu said loudly and clearly, How to avenge Vice Chief Ma? We should consider the matter carefully, but our clan cannot be without a leader. For even one day, Chief Qiao Feng has already left. Deciding who will take over this chief of the clan post is an urgent, important matter that cannot be delayed. Quite incidentally, everyone is here, so we must carry out negotiations immediately. Elder Song said, In my opinion, everyone should go find Chief Qiao back, ask him to change his views, and not to quit his post. When he had not finished saying, someone in the west shouted, Qiao Feng is a Khitan barbarian. How can he be our chief? Today, everyone still thought of the old friendship, but the next time we meet, he'll be our enemy. It won't be possible not to go all out to the death. Elder Wu sneered. You'll fight Chief Qiao all out to the death? Do you deserve? That man said furiously, I certainly can't fight him by myself, but how about 10 people? If 10 people won't do, how about 100 people? Righteous men of the Beggars clan are loyal and devote themselves to the country. Don't tell me that we would shy away from the enemies. These few sentences of his were full of strong feelings and emotions. Many people in the Beggar group in the West applauded. All right, give me 5 minutes, okay? We'll be right back. And we're back. All right, so Qiao Feng had just left the clan. All right, he's ran away. He's gone. What's up, Wing Chun? Nice of you to join. When the applause had not ended, suddenly in the northwest there was a sinister, sorrowful voice of a man. The Beggar Society had agreed to meet us at Huaishan then broke the promise and didn't show up. It turns out all of you have been sneakily hiding here. Ha 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 ha. This is so laughable. This voice was piercing. The words were pronounced incorrectly, as if his mouth was full of tongue and his nose was stuffy. Oh. Therefore, it was very uncomfortable to hear. Captain Jiang of the Great Righteousness Branch and Captain Feng of the Great Courage Branch cried out at the same time. Ayo, he said. Ayo, and said, Elder Shu, we missed the meeting. The enemies have gotten to here to find us. Duan Yu also remembered that on the day when he had first met Qiao Feng at a restaurant, he had heard someone reporting to Qiao Feng that they had arranged to meet people of Western Xia's first-class hall in the morning of the following day. At that time, Qiao Feng had felt that it would be too pressing, but he had still said yes to the arrangement. It was already past 7 a.m. Most of the people in the Beggars clan did not know about this meeting. Even the people who had known about it only focused their minds on important internal affairs of their clan and ignored it. At the moment, hearing their enemies' mocking words, they suddenly woke up. Elder Shu continuously asked, What meeting is this? Who are the enemies? He had not been taking part in any affair in Jianghu or of the Beggars clan for a long time. Therefore, he knew absolutely nothing. The elder of rule enforcement asked Captain Qiang in a low voice, Was it Chief Zhao who agreed to meet them? Captain Jiang said, Yes, but I already followed Chief Zhao's order, sending one man to Huaishan to ask the enemies to postpone the meeting until 7 days later. The owner of that sinister, sorrowful voice had a really keen sense of hearing. Captain Jiang said these two sentences in a low voice, yet he actually heard them. He said, okay, he has a stuffy nose. This meeting was already decided. How can it possibly be put back to 7 or 8 days later? Even 1 hour later is still impossible. Bai Shijing said furiously, The Beggar Society is a grand society of the great Song. How could we fear you, Western Xia barbarians? We haven't dealt with you despicable scoundrels properly, only because we're having important affairs. It's usual to change a date. What do you moan about? Suddenly, a whizzing sound was heard. A man flew out of the apricot forest, fell stiffly on the ground, and did not make a move. His face had been crushed and was covered with blood. His throat had been slit. He had already been dead for a long time. People in the Beggars clan identified him as Vice Captain Xie of the Great Righteousness Branch. You need to go back and listen from the beginning? Yeah, go ahead. Oh, no worries. Captain Jiang was both shocked and angry. He said, Brother Xia was sent by me to change the date. The elder of rule enforcement said, Elder Shu, Chief isn't here. Please temporarily act as Chief. He did not want to let out the truth that the Beggars clan was leaderless to avoid showing the impression of weakness to the enemies. Elder Shu understood. He thought that at this moment, if he himself did not run the show, then no one would. He then said loudly and clearly, They say 2 countries which fight each other don't kill messengers. Why did you kill the messenger that our humble clan sent to change the date of the meeting? They think every foreigner is a barbarian. Yep. That sinister, sorrowful voice replied, This man looked arrogant, expressed himself insolently, and did not kowtow when he saw our general. How could I let him live? When the people of the Beggars clan heard of that, they immediately boiled over with anger. Many people shouted out swear words. Until now, Elder Shu still did not know who the enemies were. He heard Bai Shijing call them Western Xia barbarians, but that man had also mentioned something like our general. This really made him find it difficult to get a clue. He said, Why don't you show your face instead of hiding sneakily? Why just talk nonsense and brag foolishly? That man cackled and said, who's hiding sneakily in the apricot forest? Suddenly there were boo-hoo sounds, of bugles coming from afar. After that, hoofbeats of a troop of horses coming from several li away could be vaguely heard. Elder Shu put his mouth close to Bai Shijing's ear and asked quietly, Who are they? What's the matter? Bai Shijing also replied quietly, Western Xia has a martial arts hall called First Class Hall, which was set up by the king of that country to recruit people who excel in martial arts and uses special treatments and gifts to tempt them to teach martial arts to Western Xia's officers and troops. Elder Shu nodded and said, Hasn't Western Xia been strengthening its army and practicing martial arts because it's planned to seize our great Song's territories? Bai Shijing quietly said, Absolutely. The people who have entered First Class Hall are all known for their first-class martial arts. The boss of First Class Hall is a Wang Yu, which is a very high rank of nobility. He was appointed as the East Conquering General. His name is Hu Lian Tia Shu, or something like that. According to what Brother Yi Da Biao sent to Western Xia by our clan has reported, recently Hu Lian Tia Shu has led the warriors of the hall to Bianliang, which is the capital of Song, to have an audience with the Empress Dowager and the Emperor of our great Song. In fact, having an audience was just a sham. Their true motive was to spy upon our country's actual conditions. Knowing that our clan is one of the great pillars of Great Song's Wulin, they want to destroy our clan. Firstly, in order to build their prestige. Later, if they again lead their army to violate the boundary of our country, it'll be easy to push deep into our land. Elder Shu was secretly frightened. He whispered, This scheme is really cruel and dangerous. Bai Shijing said, After this, Hulian Tieshu guy left Bianliang. He went to our nerve center in Luoyang. Incidentally, at that time, Chief Qiao had led us to Jiangnan to avenge Vice Chief Ma. So the Western Xia people only attacked an empty place, but they didn't give up and chased after us to Jiangnan. Eventually, they and Chief Qiao decided to have a meeting. Elder Shu thought deeply and whispered, So, according to what they have planned, they'll destroy our beggars' clan first. Maybe they'll attack Shaolin Monastery next, then crush the big martial arts schools and societies of the Central Plains. Bai Shijing said, That's the plan, but can these Western Xia warriors carry it out so easily? What do they have to be this arrogant? Chief Qiao somewhat knows about the truth, but too bad at this urgent moment he... Saying to her, feeling inappropriate, he suddenly stopped. The people of Western Xia were not of Han descent. Yeah, I don't think so. Let's see. Western Xia. So, Western Xia are Tanguts. Okay. Yeah, they're not Han Chinese. Tanguts and Tibetans. Was it Tonga? They're Tibetans. Wait, no. Tibetans are below that, right? Tibetans are here. So they were Tanguts. The Tangut-led empire and a dynasty of China, which exists in blah 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 blah. At this moment, the horse hoofbeats had drawn near. All of a sudden, 3 bugle sounds were heard. 8 horses split into 2 rows and burst into the forest. Each of the people riding on the horses was holding a lance. A small flag was tied to the head of each lance. The heads of the lances glinted. It could be vaguely noticed that the 4 small flags on the left-hand side were all embroidered with 2 white words, Western Xia, and the 4 on the right-hand side were embroidered with 2 white words, Hulian. The flags also had other Western Xia characters embroidered on them. After that, there were 8 other horses which split into 2 rows and ran quickly into the forest. 4 of the people riding on these horses were blowing bugles, and the other 4 were beating drums. Everyone in the beggar crowd scowled. This disposition of troops is totally like a march in a war. Where is the meeting between brave men in Jianghu? There were 8 Western Xia warriors arriving after the buglers and drummers. Seeing the expressions on their faces, Elder Shu knew obviously that they all have top-class martial arts. He thought, "It seems these are people of first-class haul." Those 8 warriors split up and stood on both sides. Then a horse slowly walked into the forest. The man on the horse was wearing a scarlet brocade robe. He was about 34 or 35 years old, had an aquiline nose, and a splay mustache. Following him closely was a very tall man who shouted as soon as he entered the forest. East conquering general of Western Xia has arrived. The chief of the beggars' clan, go forward to pay his respects. This voice, which sounded very unusual, belonged to none other than the man who talked to the beggar crowd a moment ago. Elder Shu said, "The chief of our society is not here. Liao Xiu will take care of the society's affairs on his behalf." Wait, the clan. "The beggars' clan brothers are all normal people in Jianghu. If you, as a general of Western Xia, use guest ceremony for meeting, then we won't dare to make friends with a man of such high position. Please go have audiences with the princes, dukes, or officers of our great song. You don't need to meet us beggars who have to beg for food. But if you use the status of a man in Wulin for meeting us, then as you are a guest coming from afar, please get off your horse and behave according to common courtesies for guests and hosts." These several sentences showed neither inferiority nor superiority. You don't think this is going to go well? They did not offend the opponents, but also took into consideration the status of the beggar's clan. The beggar crowd thought, "Sure enough, the older ginger is hotter. Elder Shu is awesome." What? What does this mean? The older ginger is hotter. Oh, okay. He's talking about actual ginger. It's a saying, okay. I was thinking of a redhead. I'm like, wait, where's the redhead? The big-nosed man said, "If the chief of your clan is not here, our general can't treat you with courtesies." He cast a glance and saw the dog-beating stick driven into the ground. Knowing that it was an important object of the beggar's clan, he said, Taking this glossy dark green bamboo stick to make a broom handle is not bad." He made a swing with his arm. The horsewhip in his hand shot out to wind around the dog-beating stick. The beggars shouted in unison, "Fuck off! Fuck you, you Tartar dog!" When the tip of his horsewhip was about to wind around the dog-beating stick, suddenly there was a silhouette moving very quickly. A person leapt out in an oblique angle and stood in front of the dog-beating stick. He extended his arm, let the horsewhip wind around it, then bent it. The big-nosed man could no longer sit steadily on the saddle and had to jump off his horse to stand on the ground. Both of them exerted their strength at the same time. A snap was heard. The horsewhip was broken into 2 pieces. That person moved his hand backwards and grabbed the dog-beating stick. Without saying a word, he returned to where he had come from. Who was this? Everyone looked at him and saw a withered old man with a bent back. He was none other than the elder of merit propagation. His martial arts were very good. He usually did not like to talk much, but when the important symbol of the society but when the important symbol of the clan had been in danger, he had protected it bravely. A moment ago, in just one move, the big-nosed man had already been dismounted, and his horsewhip had also been broken. It could be said that the big-nosed man had lost. Even though this big-nosed man had just suffered a small defeat, he did not bat an eyelid and said, "You beggars really are too stingy, hating to give away even a bamboo stick." Elder Shu said, "Brave men of Western Xia, why did you and our poor clan decide to meet?" The man said, "Our general has heard that the beggars' clan of the Central Plains has two great techniques, one being the cat-beating stick, the other being the snake subduing 18 palms. So he wanted to widen his knowledge a bit." As soon as the beggars heard that, they all flew into a rage. This man deliberately called the dog-beating stick technique the cat-beating stick technique, and called the dragon subduing 18 palms technique the snake subduing 18 palms technique. His intention of insulting was extremely obvious. It seemed in the meeting today a fierce battle of life or death was already unavoidable. While the beggar crowd was cursing, the people such as Elder Shu, the elder of merit propagation, and the elder of rule enforcement secretly felt anxious. All along, only the chief of our clan is able to use the dog-beating stick technique and the dragon subduing 18 palms. The enemies already knew about the reputation. Okay, so only Qiao Feng knew these two techniques. Whoops. The enemies already knew about the reputation of these two great techniques, yet they still brashly come to challenge. Perhaps they're not so easy to deal with. You don't get why cat beating stick was an insult? I don't know. I think he was grabbing at something to insult them, so he just said cat instead of dog, maybe. Elder Shu said, You want to see our clan's cat-beating stick technique and snake subduing 18 palms to widen your knowledge? There's not the slightest problem. As long as there are cowardly cats and snakes with scabies showing up here, we beggars will have our way of dealing with them. You mimic cats or mimic snakes." Elder Wu haha laughed and said, "If the opponents are dragons, we will subdue dragons. If they're snakes, then we beggars can't be better at catching snakes." The big-nosed man was again defeated in arguing. While he was thinking about what to say, there was a deep, gruff voice from behind him. "Cat-beating stick is also fine. Snake subduing is also fine. Come. Who's gonna have a fight with me first?" As that man finished talking, he walked out from the crowd and stood with his arms akimbo. The beggars could see that this man looked ugly and ferocious. All of a sudden, Duan Yu loudly said, "Hey, my disciple, you came here as well? Why haven't you kowtowed after seeing Master?" Oh no! He's the divine crocodile. The ferocious-looking man turned out to be none other than South Sea Divine... Oh no, new translator. Divine Alligator, Yue Lao San. What's better, divine crocodile or divine alligator? He was astonished when he saw Duan Yu and immediately looked very awkward. He said, You! Duan Yu said, "Good disciple. The Beggars Clan chief is my sworn big brother, so these people are your apprentice uncles. You mustn't disrespect them. Go home, quickly." South Sea Divine Alligator let out a roar making the leaves of the apricot trees around rustle and curse. Turtle egg! Bastard! Duan Yu said, Who did you curse as turtle egg and bastard? South Sea Divine Alligator was extremely vicious. However, when he himself said something, he never broke his words. He had already recognized Duan Yu as his master, but he did not deny that and said, I like cursing. How can you control me? I didn't curse you. Divine Croc or Divine Gator? Divine Gator? I like Divine Croc. I think that's better. I think that sounds better. Duan Yu said, you already saw Master. Why haven't you kowtowed to pay respects to me? Divine Croc repressed his anger, went forwards, kowtowed. Oh, he actually does kowtow? Kowtows and said, Master, are you all right? The more he thought about this, the angrier he got. Suddenly, he leapt to his feet and ran away while howling furiously. Everyone found that howl sounded like a retreating tidewater, burst after burst, rushing away, yet big waves still surging up fiercely. Just hearing this howl, they knew that this man's martial arts was not something to disregard. Probably in the Beggars clan, only several people, like Elder Shu and the Elder of Merit Propagation, could rival him. It was extremely strange that Duan Yu, a gentle and weak student, was unexpectedly his master. Wang Yuyan, Aju, and Abi knew that Duan Yu did not know martial arts, so they were much more surprised. Okay, so consensus from the chat is Divine Croc is better. Suddenly, a man leapt out from the group of the Western Xia warriors. So I guess Divine Croc just joined this Western Xia out of nowhere. Despite being tall like a bamboo pole, his movements were exceptionally fast. I think we know who this is. Each of his hands was holding a strange weapon whose handle was about 3 qi long, and one head was a steel claw with 5 fingers. Duan Yu recognized him as the 4th member of the 4 evils under heaven. Extreme ferocity, utmost evil. Yun Zhonghe, he thought, could it be that these 4 evildoers have all joined Western Xia? He looked carefully at the Western Xia people and saw, not to stop any crime, Yu Erniang standing there embracing a child and smiling. Oh no, she's there too. But he did not see the leader, Duan Yanqing. Duan Yu thought, as long as Prince Yanqing is not here, the Beggars clan can handle the 2nd evil and 4th evil. It turned out, after being defeated in Dali, the 4 evils had fled northwards and ran into envoys of Western Xia's first-class hall, who had been out to recruit high-level martial arts users. Unwilling to be by themselves, they had all offered their service immediately. These 4 people had such excellent martial arts that after showing their skills a little, they had been recruited right away. This time, going eastwards to Bianliang, Huliang Tiashu brought all of them with him and regarded them quite highly, thinking that he himself had a high status. Even though Duan Yanqing was dependent on first-class hall, he acted freely. He did not accept any restrictive order and go with the others. Yun Zhonghe shouted, Our general wants to see the Beggars clan's 2 great techniques. In the end, you beggars have true skills or are just boasting. Quickly, come here to fight for real. Elder Si said, I'm fighting him. Elder Shu said, Okay, this man's lightness skill is very unusual. Brother Shi must be careful. Elder Si said, Yes. Carrying his steel pole, he walked towards Yun Zhonghe, stood facing him from a distance of more than 1 zhang, and said, The use of our society's great techniques is dependent on who the opponent is. Why should the dog-beating stick technique be used to handle a shrimp like you? Watch out! He raised the steel pole, creating a whirring sound, and swung it down at Yun Zhonghe's left shoulder at an angle. Elder Xi was stubby, but the steel pole in his hands were longer than Wan Zhang. Once it was brandished, even if the opponent was very tall, like Yun Zhonghe, it was still possible for him to strike down from the air. Yun Zhonghe leaned sideways and dodged. A bang was heard. Dirt flew on all sides. The steel pole had hit the ground, and its head had gone one chi into the ground. Yun Zhonghe knew that his true abilities were far inferior to Elder Xi's, so he applied a hit-and-run tactic, using his lightness skill. For a moment he had been in the east, the next moment he already flashed to the west. So this Yun Zhonghe guy is very fast. Elder Xi's steel pole had been brandished into a white sphere, but all the while it had not been able to touch Yun Zhonghe's clothes. While Duan Yu was being absorbed in the fight, suddenly he heard a lovely, gentle voice next to him. Mr. Duan, who should we help? Duan Yu leaned his head to one side and saw that it was Wang Yuyan. He could not help feeling elated, and hurriedly asked, who should what help? Wang Yuyan said, This lanky man is your disciple's friend, while this stubby beggar is your sworn brother's subordinate. The more these two have been fighting, the fiercer they've become. Who should we help? Duan Yu said, My disciple is a villain, and this lanky guy's character is even worse. Don't help him. Wang Yuyan muttered, But the whole beggar's clan have driven your sworn brother away, and won't let him be the chief. They've also falsely accused my cousin. I hate them. In the heart of a young girl like her, whoever treated her cousin badly was the worst person under heaven. She continued, This stubby geezer is using the 24 demon-taming pole stances of Mount Wutai, but because he's too short, the 2 stances of the King of Qin whips rock, and the rock spreads the wings, can't be executed well. If the right-hand side of his lower body is attacked, he won't be able to defend himself, but this lanky man doesn't realize that. He thinks the lower body of short people must be stable, but in fact, that's not true. Even though her voice was very low, all the high-level martial arts users with fine internal energy at the scene had already heard what she said. The majority of these people knew about Elder Xi's martial arts and skills, but they might not necessarily realize where his stances were flawed. Once Wang Yuyan pointed it out, they immediately felt that she was correct, because whenever Elder Xi had used the 2 stances, the King of Qin whips rock, and a rock spreads the wings, his power had really been excessive, but his stability had been deficient. His lower body had been rather vulnerable. Yun Zhonghe cast a sidelong glance at Wang Yuyan and praised, You little girl are very beautiful. It's rarer that you have such great insight. Following me and becoming my wife is even more okay. While saying this, he used the steel claws in his hands to attack Elder Xi's lower body with 3 swift stances. Elder Xi was too late to ward off the 3rd stance. A sound of tearing was heard. His thigh had just suffered a long cut by Yun Zhonghe's steel claws and immediately dripped blood. Hearing Yun Zhonghe praise herself for being beautiful, Wang Yuyan was quite happy. What? Therefore, she did not think his flirty and frivolous words were offensive. She smiled and said, How shameless! What's good about you? I'm not marrying you. Yun Zhonghe was very pleased. He said, Why not? You're already in love with that pretty boy, right? I'll kill your love interest first to see if you'll marry me. These sentences had seriously violated Wang Yuyan's taboos. She frowned and no longer paid any attention to him. Yun Zhonghe still wanted to say a few more words to gain advantage, but Elder Wu of the Beggar's Clan leapt out, lifted his demon-headed saber, and slashed 4 times on the left-hand side, 4 times on the right-hand side, 4 times high, 4 times low, totaling 16 slashes. The momentum of the saber was extremely fierce. Yun Jonghu was not familiar with the stances of this saber technique, therefore he could only dodge around, jerk his head back, and jump up. For the moment, he was totally perplexed. Wang Yuyan smiled and said, "This 4 forms 6 harmonies." She's revealing all their secrets. "This 4 forms 6 harmonies saber technique of Elder Wu contains the generation principles, the restraint principles, and the changes of the 8 diagrams. That lanky man just doesn't know that. I wonder if he can use the crane snake 8 attacks. If he can, the 4 forms 6 harmonies saber technique will be defeated easily." Hearing her say those words to help Yun Jonghu again, the people of the beggar clan had all had an angry expression on their faces. They saw that Yun Jonghu immediately changed his fighting style, spreading wide his legs and whipping horizontally with the steel claws, looking like a white crane. Wang Yuyan put her mouth close to Duan Yu's ear and whispered, "This lanky man has walked into my trap. Perhaps his left hand would be chopped off." Duan Yu was surprised. He asked, "Really?" Everyone only saw that the saber technique of Elder Wu was strict and heavy, chopping sidelong and slashing horizontally, as if there was no arrangement of stances. He fought more and more slowly, but all of a sudden he swiftly chopped 3 times. White light flashed. Yun Jonghu shouted, "Ah!" The back of his left hand had already been cut by the blade. She tricked them. The steel claw in his left hand could not be held firmly anymore. A clang was heard. It had already fallen on the ground. However, because his lightness skill was very fast, he hurriedly moved backwards and was able to dodge the 3 later chops of Elder Wu. Elder Wu walked towards Wang Yuyan, stood in front of her, held his saber in a straight, upright position, and said, "Thanks a lot, miss." Wang Yuyan smiled and said, "Elder Wu, your wonderful Door 3 powers saber is very refined and subtle." Elder Wu was surprised. He thought, "I didn't expect you to know this saber technique of mine." It turned out that Wang Yuyan had deliberately called the saber technique of Elder Wu the 4 forms 6 harmonies saber, and judging from the stances of Yun Jonghu, she had anticipated that he would surely use the crane snake 8 attacks to make him involuntarily get into a dominated position. As expected, his left hand had nearly been chopped off. The name of the big-nosed man who had the queer voice was standing next to Hulian Tirshu was Nu Hai. Seeing Wang Yuyan help Yun Jonghu injure Elder Shi with just several sentences, then enable Elder Wu to injure Yun Jonghu with a few sentences again, he turned towards Hulian Tirshu and said, "General, this young Han girl is very strange. If we capture and take her back to first-class hall, then force her to tell everything she knows, it'll probably be extremely useful." Hulian Tirshu said, "Very good. You go capture her." Nu Hai scratched his head and thought, "This character of general is certainly not very nice. Whenever I suggested a ploy to him, he always says, 'Very good, you go handle it.' Making suggestions is easy, but handling them is hard. This young girl's martial arts seems to be fathomless. I don't want to make a fool of myself in front of her. Anyways, today is for rounding up and annihilating these beggars. It'll be better to strike first and prevail." He made a gesture with his left hand. 4 of his subordinates immediately walked out. Nu Hai took several steps forward and said, "Elder Shu, our general want to see the dog-beating stick technique and the dragon subduing 18 palms. If you have something interesting, then show it. But if you really don't, we can't afford to wait any longer. We must go now. Farewell." Elder Shu sneered and said, "High-level martial arts users of your country's first-class hall have boasted that you all have top-notch martial arts, but it turns out you're just mediocre. I'm afraid you don't deserve to see the dog beating stick technique and the dragon subduing 18 palms. Newer High said, How to deserve to see them? Elder Shu said, First, you must beat us, good-for-nothing beggars. Then the head of the beggars' society, then the head of the beggars' clan will show up. Saying to hear, he suddenly coughed loudly. Then his eyes hurt intensely and could not open. His tears dripped down continuously. Feeling very frightened, he jumped up, held his breath, and quickly kicked 3 times. Nu Erhai had not expected that this old man, whose beard was snow white, would attack as soon as he finished speaking, and that his movements were so fast like this. He hastily dodged, but could only avoid getting hit at the crucial points on his chest. The head of his shoulder had still been kicked. He staggered a few steps, then made use of the momentum to leap backwards. Elder Shu jumped up the second time, while still being in the air. He felt weary and numb in his arms and legs, and fell down heavily. The people of the beggars' clan shouted in succession, Not good! The Tartars! Play dirty! What's in my eyes? I can't open my eyes! Everyone felt a sharp pain in the eyes. Tears streamed out of their eyes. Wang Yuyan, Aju and Abi could not open their eyes similarly. It turned out that in an instant, the Western Xia people had already dispersed the sad, weak, clear wind in the apricot forest. The sad, weak, clear wind was a type of colorless, odorless, poisonous gas. Oh, they have tear gas now? Its liquid form was made from the poisonous animals gathered from the Huangxi Valley in Mount Dashui of Western Xia. Most of the time it was kept in bottles. When it was used, the user had already had the antidote put into their nose. As soon as the stopper of the bottle was removed, the poisonous liquid would evaporate and spread into the air gently like a breeze. Therefore, no matter how careful and precise a person was, they would still be unable to detect it. When their eyes hurt sharply, the poison had already entered the brain. After being poisoned, the victim's eyes would drip with tears, hence sad. Their whole body would be unable to move, hence weak. The poisonous gas was colorless and odorless, hence clear wind. This translator's skill is sad and weak. Oh, that's vicious. That's why he sounds stuffed up. I don't think that's why. I think that's just that guy. Because they have other people there, right? I think everyone just covered their noses with the antidote, I guess, before they released the gas. Thuds and ayo sounds could be heard continuously. The people of the beggars' clan fell down one after another. Duan Yu had eaten the Mungu cinnabar frog. Therefore, he was immune to poison. Even though he had breathed the sad, weak, clear wind in, he was neither sad nor weak. Seeing that the beggars, Wang Yuyan, Aju, and Abi, were all having painful expressions on their faces, he could not understand why and felt very frightened. Nu Erhai cried out loudly and commanded the warriors to tie the people of the beggars' clan up. He himself went towards Wang Yuyan and stretched out his hand to grab her wrist. Duan Yu shouted, What are you doing? At that urgent moment, he quickly extended his right forefinger. A beam of internal energy was shot out from the fingertip, creating chi sounds. It was none other than the 6 meridians divine swords of the Duan clan in Dali. Nu Erhai did not know about its powers. Therefore, he paid no attention to it and kept approaching Wang Yuyan to grab her wrist. Suddenly, a crack was heard. The bone of his right arm had unaccountably been broken into 2 pieces. His arm hung down loosely. Nu Erhai cried out painfully and stopped walking. Bah! Damn, he just did this and he broke the dude's arm. True, yeah, I think Ron Wo Sing was a good translator. Duan Yu bent down, gripped the delicate waist of Wang Yuyan, then started to use the wave-treading exquisite steps. Taking 3 steps forwards at an oblique angle and 2 strides over to one side, he rushed out of the crowd. Yu Niang made a wave with her right hand. A poisonous needle was fired towards the middle of his back. This poisonous needle was very well aimed and went with a lot of force. In any case, Duan Yu should have many difficulties in dodging it. However, he suddenly moved sideways, then suddenly went backwards. Therefore, when the poisonous needle arrived, he had already moved to the right side, 3 qi. Yeah, his running technique is really good too, his movement technique. 3 skilled warriors in the group of Western Xia warriors immediately jumped off their horseback, shouted, and chased after him. Duan Yu ran to a horse, put Wang Yuyan lying across the saddle, then jumped onto the horse and spurred it to run away. Western Xia warriors had already guarded the key posts all around the apricot forest. Suddenly, seeing Duan Yu running out on a horse, they immediately fired arrows. Trees in the apricot forest covered him. More than 10 wolf-toothed arrows all stuck into the trees. Duan Yu cried out, "Good horse! Ah, good horse! The faster you run, the better. When we return, I'll let you eat chicken, eat meat, eat fish, eat goat." He forgot that horses did not eat meat or fish. Really? That's how you end the chapter? Yay! And we're done. Did you guys like the chapter? All right, so they succeeded in kicking out Qiao Feng from the Beggars Clan. Right? So the coup attempt was successful. Even though, so they don't have an actual chief right now, and they don't have anyone who knows the actual, like, the secret techniques of the Beggars Clan, right? Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot my wine. Hold on. The Beggars Clan actually getting wiped out right now? Don't know. So I don't think I don't think the poison gas kills you, right? It just makes you faint. Yeah. So I don't think everyone is dying. All right. Ooh. All right, guys. Cheers. Good stuff. So you know what I found out? So this is you know what I found out? This is sparkling wine, right? So I thought all sparkling wine was called champagne, but that's not true. Only the sparkling wine from the Champagne region of France is called champagne. Everything else should be called sparkling wine. Did you know that? Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. Wait, should we? Oh wait, let me double check. Maybe I'm wrong. Is sparkling wine champagne? Long story short, all champagne is sparkling wine, but not all sparkling wine is champagne. There. Okay. I thought they were all called champagne, but I guess not. You knew? You guys knew? Oh my god. Yeah, it's true. You guys knew that? Okay. Some people knew, some people don't know. Okay. Any particular occasion to celebrate? No, I just drink wine after every stream. I opened this before, so it's been in the fridge ever since. So I have to finish it. It's really good though. You did train as a bartender. Oh, nice. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love you. I will see you next time. All right. See you next time. All right. Bye.